Imagine walking through American cities where dozens of languages fill the air, global food aromas spill onto the streets, and entire neighborhoods pulse with cultures from every corner of the world. In these cities, immigration isn't just a statistic. It's what fuels the economy, shapes daily life, and keeps growth alive. Millions of immigrants aren't just moving in. They're transforming cities at a scale few people truly understand. Today, we're counting down 10 American cities where immigrant communities have grown so large, so influential, and so essential that without them, these cities simply wouldn't function the same way. Immigration doesn't reshape a country all at once. It reshapes it city by city. Across the United States, certain urban centers have absorbed waves of newcomers at a scale that has fundamentally altered how those cities function, economically, culturally, and socially. In these places, immigration isn't a side story. It's the main driver of growth. Entire neighborhoods have formed around immigrant communities. Local economies rely on foreign-born workers. Public services, housing markets, and job sectors have all adapted. Sometimes smoothly, sometimes under strain. Today, we begin counting down 10 American cities where immigrant populations have grown so large that overcrowding has become a defining reality. We start at number 10. Number 10, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minneapolis is not usually the first city people think of when discussing immigration, but over the past 2 decades, it has quietly become one of the most immigrant-dense cities in the Midwest. Large Somali, Hmong, Ethiopian, and Latino communities have reshaped entire sections of the city. Neighborhoods that once struggled with population decline are now vibrant centers of small businesses, cultural institutions, and family-run commerce. Immigrants play a major role in Minneapolis's workforce. Healthcare support, food processing, logistics, cleaning services, and public transportation all rely heavily on immigrant labor. Many of these jobs face chronic labor shortages without foreign-born workers. At the same time, housing pressure has increased. As immigrant families settle and grow, demand for affordable housing has surged. Multi-generational households are common, not by preference alone, but by necessity. Apartments are often shared by extended families trying to manage rising rent costs. Minneapolis benefits economically from immigration. But the infrastructure strain is real. Schools are more crowded. Public services face language access challenges. Housing development struggles to keep pace. The city is growing again, but growth comes with pressure. Number 9, San Diego, California. San Diego sits at the crossroads of geography and migration. Its proximity to the US-Mexico border makes it a natural destination for immigrants, but the city's economy is what keeps people there. Construction, hospitality, healthcare support, food services, and cross-border trade rely heavily on immigrant workers. Entire sectors would struggle to operate at current scale without them. Neighborhoods in southern and eastern San Diego have seen significant population density increases as immigrant families settle close to employment hubs. Housing costs are among the highest in the country, and overcrowding has become common. Multiple families often share single-family homes. Converted garages and informal housing arrangements are widespread. The city benefits from immigrant entrepreneurship. Small restaurants, service businesses, and retail shops fuel local economies and revitalize neighborhoods. But success brings density, and density brings pressure. Public transit is strained. Schools are crowded. Affordable housing supply remains far behind demand. San Diego thrives because of immigration, but it also feels the weight of it daily. Number 8, Houston, Texas. Houston is one of the most diverse cities in America and one of the fastest growing. Immigrants from Latin America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East have transformed Houston into a global city. Entire districts reflect international cultures, languages, and business networks. Houston's economy depends heavily on immigrant labor. Energy, construction, healthcare, logistics, manufacturing, and hospitality all rely on foreign-born workers. The city's rapid expansion would not be possible without them. What makes Houston unique is scale. The city absorbs people faster than it builds infrastructure. Housing developments sprawl outward, but affordable options remain limited for low-income families. Overcrowding shows up in subtle ways. Large households share limited space, traffic congestion worsens, public schools operate near capacity, emergency services face increased demand. Yet Houston continues to attract newcomers. Jobs exist. Costs are lower than coastal cities, and immigrant networks provide support systems that make settlement possible. Houston grows because it absorbs, but absorption has limits. Number 7. Queens, New York. Queens is not just a borough. It is one of the most immigrant-dense urban areas on Earth. More than half of Queens residents were born outside the United States or are the children of immigrants. Walking through its neighborhoods feels like crossing continents in minutes. Entire communities are defined by immigrant presence. South Asian, Latin American, East Asian, Caribbean, Middle Eastern, and African populations coexist within a few square miles. Immigrants power Queens' economy. Food services, construction, delivery networks, healthcare support, transportation, and retail all depend on immigrant labor. Many small businesses are family-run and operate on tight margins. Overcrowding is unavoidable. Apartments house extended families. Informal subdivisions are common. Rent prices push people into shared living arrangements. Infrastructure built decades ago now serves far more people than intended. Schools are crowded. Transit is strained. Healthcare facilities operate under constant demand. Yet Queens remains resilient. Immigrant communities create dense support networks. Local economies stay active. Cultural life flourishes. Queens doesn't just absorb immigrants, it is built by them. By the time we reach this point in the countdown, one pattern is already clear. Immigration doesn't just increase population, it redefines cities. The cities ahead on this list experience immigration at an even larger scale, where overcrowding becomes a defining challenge, not a side effect. Housing systems strain harder. Public services feel constant pressure. Economic dependence deepens. And as we move closer to the top, the question becomes unavoidable. How many people can a city absorb before growth turns into congestion? That's where this story continues. Part 2. When growth turns into density. As we move higher on this list, immigration stops being a background force and becomes a defining feature of daily life. The cities ahead are not just growing. They are absorbing people at a pace that strains housing, transportation, schools, and public services. In these places, overcrowding is not accidental. It's the result of economic magnetism colliding with limited space. Let's continue. Number 6. Miami, Florida. Miami has always been a gateway city. But over the past decade, immigration has transformed Miami from a destination into a pressure point. Large immigrant communities from Latin America and the Caribbean dominate the city's population growth. Entire neighborhoods operate primarily in Spanish or Creole, and immigrant-owned businesses line nearly every commercial corridor. Immigrants power Miami's service economy. Hospitality, construction, healthcare support, logistics, cleaning services, and food preparation all depend heavily on foreign-born workers. Tourism would slow dramatically without this workforce. Housing is where overcrowding becomes most visible. Miami's real estate market has exploded. Rent prices have surged. As a result, multiple families often share apartments designed for far fewer people. Converted living spaces, informal rentals, and overcrowded high-rises are increasingly common. Traffic congestion has worsened. Public transit struggles to keep pace. Schools operate near capacity in many districts. Miami thrives because of immigration, but it also feels the consequences of rapid, concentrated growth. Number 5. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago's immigrant population has long been central to the city's identity. What's changed is density. Immigrant communities from Mexico, Central America, Eastern Europe, South Asia, and Africa have expanded across the city, revitalizing neighborhoods while also increasing population pressure. Immigrants sustain Chicago's economy. Construction, manufacturing, food processing, restaurants, cleaning services, and transportation all rely heavily on immigrant labor. Without it, many industries would face immediate shortages. Overcrowding in Chicago often takes a quiet form. Older housing stock is subdivided to accommodate larger households. Multi-generational living becomes standard. Neighborhood schools handle rising enrollment without equivalent funding increases. Public services stretch thinner. Transit systems face heavier use. Healthcare clinics serve more patients than intended. Affordable housing supply continues to lag behind demand. Chicago benefits from immigration, but the city is still catching up to the scale of that growth. Number 4. Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles is one of the most immigrant-dense cities in the United States. Its immigrant population is not just large, it is foundational. Immigrants from Latin America, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa have shaped Los Angeles for generations. Entire industries depend on them. Construction, entertainment support, garment manufacturing, hospitality, logistics, food services, and caregiving rely heavily on immigrant labor. Overcrowding in Los Angeles is severe. Housing costs are among the highest in the nation. As a result, apartments house multiple families, garages are converted into living spaces, and informal housing arrangements are widespread. Density spills into every part of city life. Traffic congestion is constant. Public transportation operates under heavy demand. Schools are crowded. Emergency services respond to denser populations than infrastructure was designed for. Los Angeles continues to attract immigrants because opportunity exists, but opportunity comes with congestion. The city runs on immigration, and it is visibly full. Number 3, Dallas, Texas. Dallas has emerged as one of the fastest-growing immigrant hubs in the country. Economic opportunity is the magnet. Immigrants arrive to work in construction, logistics, warehousing, hospitality, healthcare support, and manufacturing. The city's rapid expansion depends on this labor force. Housing development has exploded outward. But density inside neighborhoods has grown even faster. Immigrant families often settle near employment centers, leading to crowded apartment complexes and packed suburban housing developments. Public schools in high immigration areas experience enrollment surges. Transportation systems struggle to adapt. Traffic congestion worsens year after year. What makes Dallas notable is speed. Immigration-driven growth is happening faster than infrastructure planning. The city absorbs newcomers quickly, but adaptation lags. Dallas is expanding, but pressure is building. By the time we reach this point in the countdown, overcrowding is no longer a side effect. It is a defining challenge. The cities still ahead on this list experience immigration at such scale that it reshapes everything: housing markets, public services, economic structure, and daily life. And the final cities reveal what happens when immigration-driven growth pushes urban systems to their limits. That's where this story reaches its peak. By the time we reach the top of this list, immigration-driven growth is no longer subtle. In these final cities, immigrant populations are so large and so concentrated that overcrowding shapes nearly every aspect of daily life. Housing systems strain constantly. Infrastructure operates beyond design limits, and local economies depend on immigrant labor at a level that is impossible to ignore. These are cities where immigration is not just a factor, it is the defining force. Number 2, San Jose, California. San Jose sits at the heart of Silicon Valley, one of the most powerful economic regions in the world. But beneath the wealth, innovation, and global influence lies a city under immense population pressure. Immigrants make up a massive share of San Jose's population. Workers from Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East have been drawn here by opportunity. Not just in tech, but in the industries that support it. Construction, food services, cleaning, transportation, childcare, healthcare support, and maintenance all rely heavily on immigrant labor. The tech economy could not function at its current scale without this workforce. Housing is where overcrowding becomes most extreme. San Jose consistently ranks among the most expensive housing markets in the United States. Rent prices are staggering. Home ownership is out of reach for many families. As a result, overcrowding has become normalized. Multiple families share apartments. Garages are converted into bedrooms. Single-family homes house extended households. Informal living arrangements fill the gap left by an impossible housing market. Public infrastructure struggles to keep up. Road congestion is constant. Schools face high enrollment pressure. Public transit serves far more riders than originally planned. Emergency services operate under heavy demand. San Jose produces enormous wealth, but many of the workers who keep the city running live in cramped, unstable conditions. The contradiction is stark. The city powers the future, while struggling to house the people who make that future possible. Number 1, San Francisco, California. At number 1 is the city where immigration-driven overcrowding is most visible, most intense, and most consequential: San Francisco. Few cities in the world have experienced such rapid transformation or such extreme density pressure as San Francisco. Immigrants are woven into every layer of the city, from technology support roles to hospitality, construction, transportation, healthcare, food services, and retail. Immigrant workers sustain daily life in one of the most expensive urban environments on Earth. San Francisco's global appeal attracts newcomers from every continent, but space is limited. Housing supply has failed to keep pace with demand for decades. Zoning restrictions, geographic constraints, and slow development have created a permanent shortage. The result is extreme overcrowding. Apartments house far more people than intended. Informal subdivisions are common. Rent consumes a disproportionate share of household income. Multi-generational living is not cultural preference alone. It's survival. Density spills into everything. Public transit is overloaded. Streets are crowded. Schools operate under pressure. Healthcare systems face constant demand. At the same time, the city's economy depends on immigration more than ever. San Francisco's wealth is built on innovation. But innovation relies on a workforce that extends far beyond engineers and executives. It relies on cleaners, cooks, caregivers, drivers, and builders, many of whom are immigrants. Without them, the city would stall. San Francisco represents the extreme end of a national pattern, a city powered by global talent, limited by physical space, and pushed to the edge by success. When you step back from the list, a clear reality emerges. Immigration does not affect all cities equally. It concentrates where opportunity exists, and where networks already provide a foothold. Over time, that concentration transforms cities into global hubs of culture, labor, and economic activity. But growth without capacity creates pressure. Housing shortages, crowded schools, strained transit, overloaded public services. The cities on this list thrive because of immigration. They also struggle because of it. This is the contradiction at the center of America's urban future. Immigrants drive growth. Cities absorb people. Infrastructure lags behind, and overcrowding becomes the visible result. These cities are not failing. They are full of ambition, full of labor, full of culture, and full of people chasing opportunity. The question is no longer whether immigration will continue to shape American cities. It already has. The real question is whether cities can adapt fast enough to match the scale of the change. Because in these 10 cities, immigration isn't coming. It's already here. And it's reshaping urban America in real time.